What is up, Minnesota Viking fans? Welcome to the Purple People Podcast. My name is Kyle Smith, and I am joined by Adam Carlson. How are you, sir?
The weather's a little wild here, so I'll try to stick with you guys.
Yeah, glad your power's back on, hopefully for good. That's not fun.
I do like having heat. That's a plus.
Yeah, heat in January. Nice thing to have. Kyle West is here. What's up, dude?
Hey guys, there was a football game that I don't remember anything about that we're going to discuss. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Well, the good news is, Kyle, we'll update you, and it went very well for the Vikings. So I can't wait to talk about it with you.
Oh, yeah. How big of a victory did they have?
So they got the nice. What's up, Kathy? Thank you for joining us. We haven't seen you in the chat in a while. Yes, Charlotte, I am legally blind. Fun fact. If you guys know anything about contact prescriptions, you can start at 0.00. You can go in the positives by 1 quarter increments, 0.25, 0.50. So breaking it down in quarters for each number, I am a negative 4.75. If I take these off, I see blurs of colors. I cannot read a stop sign from about 10 feet away. Obviously, I know what it looks like, but yeah, these are Coke bottles. Thank you for noticing.
Both Kyles are rocking them.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because I took my contact out last night and it fell somewhere that I could not find. So that one is no longer.
When I was younger, we finally got eye insurance to go and see the eye doctor. So my whole family went to the eye doctor, and all of us got prescription glasses. And then it turns out that none of us actually needed them. They just wanted to sell glasses.
Ha!
Oh my gosh.
Speaking of glasses, you know who needs them? Ed Donatel, because that defense is shit. How's that for a segue?
Well, let's just get right into it. The Vikings went to Lambeau on January 1st, and they lost 41-17. Now, I will say that's better than 40-3 at home against the Cowboys, but
there were some garbage time points in that one.
There was a lot of bad football from the Vikings.
It was all garbage.
Yeah, that score makes it look closer than it really was.
Yeah.
Now we'll go over like the key points and all the stats and whatnot. But the biggest takeaway that I have here is, and there's a meme out about this, but it couldn't be more true. And I feel like it's the latter. Shout out to my best friend Greg. I just gave him a lot of crap because yes, the way that I worded my response in a text message was whatever, but you got to look at the context of it. He sends me the meme that says the Vikings are either winning the Super Bowl or getting blown out in the wild card at home by 40 points. And I said, yeah, I'll take the latter. And he goes, why would you say that? I said, have you seen this team at all this season? He goes, why would you want your team to lose by 40 points rather than win a Super Bowl? And I said, it's not that I want. I'm predicting what is going to happen. You cannot go down 33 points to a team like the Colts, much less a team like even the Giants that we beat by a field goal, or God forbid you get out of that round and go to San Francisco, it looks like, because spoiler alert, the Vikings aren't the 2 seed anymore. Now they're the 3 seed. And we remember what happened last time the Vikings went to San Francisco in the playoffs.
They won.
So, it was competitive for one half, and then the second half came around, and it was very depressing Vikings football.
Well, Vikings fans got to remember another playoff matchup against the Giants that didn't go too well.
Yeah, I've blocked that one out of my memory too, Adam. There's a lot of that.
It's going to be tough. It's tough to be optimistic about this team this close to the end because this game had some meaning behind it that would have been sweet for Viking fans and obviously the team. If they would have beaten Green Bay, they would have knocked them out of playoff contention completely and really made the statement like, hey, we swept you. You've been the kings of the North forever. This is ours now. And they laid an egg, not actually on the scoreboard, but pretty much everywhere. There was one highlight that I really liked. There was a blocked punt. Josh Metellus had a sighting.
That was a nice play.
Nick Mullins looks like a good backup, but if he ever has to come in a regular season game, something bad happened. So, yeah, this was pretty terrible.
Green Bay was just so much more physical than Minnesota was everywhere.
Yep.
Whether it was off the snap for, jamming a receiver or in the trenches where the linemen just absolutely got brutalized. And we saw that, too, with couple of offensive linemen going down.
We'll talk about those injuries in just a second. I want to highlight some of the things and go right into game balls and donkeys. Kirk Cousins had more rushing yards than Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, Green Bay came in allowing 5 yards to carry.
And between Alexander Madison, Kirk Cousins, and Dalvin Cook, they got 102 yards. So
That's not good.
also, I take any chance I can because I'm salty right now. And Green Bay, you guys beat the crap out of us, so you deserve all the credit. But 96% stadium capacity. You guys don't fill your stadium up. You guys are proud of those bleachers in the snow, and you can't fill that shithole up. Come on now, figure yourselves out, owners of a football team. All right, I have nothing. I'm just lashing out right now.
Well, the Vikings had to return some of their lots, so maybe that had something to do with it.
Cliff says, we're done.
Charlotte, I agree with you. That game did suck. It sucked to watch.
The Vikings better not get eliminated in the playoffs by Daniel Jones.
I'll be pissed, but it feels like that's in it. That's imminent. And going back to what you said, now to bring it up, Adam brought it up. Brian O'Neill is done for the season, and Austin Schlottman. Is it Schlottman or Schlottman? They keep saying Schlottman on the broadcast.
It's whatever.
I keep hearing Schlottman.
We'll go with that if that's what they're saying. I'm sure they've interviewed and asked, but Austin Schlottman was the backup center. He had an ankle injury, so you're now down to Chris Reed, and it's not good. It's not good, and that means Oli Udoh is going to go in at right tackle. Now, is he serviceable? Sure. Do you want him starting a game in the playoffs? No.
Did I forget he was on the team entirely? Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Could not quite remember what year it was when he was all of a sudden in the football game for the Vikings. Look, anytime you're on your third string center, things are not going well.
No, they're not great.
And Kevin O'Connell did say that there is a chance that Garrett Bradbury comes back for the playoffs, which is great. The Vikings are favored heavily in Chicago this weekend because Justin Fields is being held out of the game. Nathan Peterman will start. So that's a good sign, but
could also be disaster for the Vikings.
It could be a trap game, dude. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
Here's something wild, though, is that if the Bears lose this game and the Texans win, the Bears get the number 1 overall pick in the draft.
That's a very likely scenario. I don't know.
Really?
Let's see. Who do the Texans play? Do you know off the top of your head, Adam?
I am not 100% sure.
I'm going to look that up because that intrigues the crap out of me. Yeah, like I was saying, the Packers played their game. It's really frustrating because overall, they are down what they used to be really good at. They used to have really good receivers, 1 and 2, and they don't have a clear dynamic, oh my God, like top 10 wide receiver 1. They found their identity, and they're getting hot at the right time. They can run the shit out of the football, and it's not good for any team that they might have to go in. And you know what's crazy? I don't think that they're going to win more than one playoff game if they win at all. But here's the crazy part. With all the stakes that were on Green Bay for their years before, like the 1 seed, the 2 seed, whatever, hosting these playoff games, and then they do the bet hard, like first game in. This is the kind of Green Bay team that makes a run, and it's really annoying. And I saw a theory today. I want you guys to talk about it in the chat. They're like, wouldn't it be the most 2022 NFL season if it was Rodgers and Brady in the NFC Championship game?
God.
You finally get it again. And I was like, yeah, I could.
Well,
see
the NFL
Giants.
did kind of help Green Bay a little bit with their scheduling.
They did.
Putting Green Bay and Detroit in the Sunday night spot, because by that point they'll already know the outcome of the game against Seattle. Seattle plays, because if Seattle wins, then nothing else really matters. You know, the Lions will be eliminated, so Green Bay would have nothing to play for, or Detroit would have nothing to play for. So I mean, at that point, Green Bay would be a lock.
Wes answered my question. I was trying to search for it. The Texans play the Colts. There's a very good chance that both of those happen. Chicago has a legitimate chance to get the number 1 pick, which would be interesting because it'll shake it up. There's going to be a lot of good quarterbacks in this draft.
They're not taking a quarterback, though. They believe in theirs.
Correct. What I was getting with there was they could get some capital if they really want to trade back, and somebody's like, well.
Bears fans believe a wide receiver would make the difference there.
You can't take a wide receiver 1 overall, can you?
But, you know, they said Darnell Mooney is better than Adam Thielen, so they got him, and they made that trade for Chase Claypool, so maybe they got to work with what they got.
The Bills are America's team now. That's correct. We're going to talk about that situation as well, but let's get into the game. You guys chime in the chat. Let's do game balls and donkeys. Does anyone have any positives in game ball that they want to give away for this game?
Jalen Naylor. Good for him.
Yeah. That's either it's him, probably our consensus, or
Or Josh Metellus.
I like Josh Metellus' play. I mean, starting off, it's crazy when a blocked what happening. I forgot about this game already.
Yeah.
There's a kickoff return, which is no fault of the offense or the defense, but special teams, you got to shore that shit up. But wasn't there a blocked field goal or something that ran back, or blocked punt that went back? Something crazy happened to start that game. And I'll do the play-by-play here.
Green Bay's kick return touchdown.
Kickoff return, interception return. Oh, yeah, the pick. That's something I noticed, too, in this game, having backups on the line.
Alexander grittying on JJ.
That was super not
Classy.
likable. That's another thing I noticed in this game, too, with backup linemen playing. You guys see how many balls were batted in this game? Holy crap. It was so bad.
Yeah.
3 or 4 at least that I remember off the top of my head. Like, I get it, but the regular guys being in there, they usually don't allow that to happen as often, but we'll see. Rodgers gets your game ball, 2 minutes penalty box. I'm not giving that to the other team. How dare you, Charlotte? All right, well, here's the fun part. Who do you give your donkey to? Kyle West, go ahead.
I don't know. Pick one. There's a lot to pick from for that one. I don't know. It just wasn't a good game. I'm going to go real broad here and just say, how do you look so flat? How is the preparation so bad for a game that, like, hey, it's an important divisional game and you can knock Green Bay out of the playoffs, and that should be enough to get your team motivated. And they looked flat.
This is a good segue.
I don't know how.
Oh, sorry, but go ahead.
I don't know how Justin Jefferson, like, how does he come out after getting shit talked all week and do absolutely nothing?
He got beaten around so physically at the line of scrimmage that I don't think he's ever been played that way in his career.
I would say week 2 against Philly was very close, but this one did it a little more, and that's going to be the formula going forward, is to be super physical with JJ.
Yeah, because if you notice, you knock him around and you get him off his game, and then he starts to pout a little bit, like the helmet comes off and he starts doing that kind of shit. And like
he should have got kicked out of the game. I mean, let's be honest.
Probably.
We'll call a spade here, and we'll own up to it.
Well, Jefferson should have gotten kicked too, even though it was an accident when he was doing that thing with his helmet and the ref.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm talking about. Justin Jefferson should have been kicked out of the game because he hit a referee and he took his helmet off. Like, you got to keep your stuff together, man. Like, I love Dalvin. I love Za'Darius. I love all these players, but you are the face of the franchise.
You just named my donkey.
You want to be in the same conversation with Randy Moss and Chris Carter and Jerry Rice and Calvin Johnson. I'm talking about Justin Jefferson here. You want to be in that conversation with those guys. This is a game where you can't disappear. Anything. Yeah, you don't have to say anything. You go out there and you put up $150 and 2 touchdowns, and you completely shut him up about it. That's what you go out there and do. And I hope that he gets to that point and doesn't go the Odell Beckham route, which is a little bit what we've seen in this one. You've seen him get, I don't know. I don't want to sound like I'm knocking Jefferson too much because we love him here.
Yeah, because he wanted to perform, but
right.
A lot of things went into this loss, and a lot of things went into him pretty much disappearing. The one was the field, even though the Packers play on it, and I get that they understand it, the field wasn't ideal. I saw Eric Kendricks fall down at least twice.
Yeah, Jefferson actually put on longer cleats.
Yeah.
At one point in the game, because he felt like he couldn't keep his footing.
TJ Hawkinson can never stay upright. he falls over.
He drops some balls too, man. It's tough because he clearly is better than Irv Smith, but goodness.
But wasn't he? But then again, he's one of the leaders in receiving for this game for us, right? So
it's this team, man. This season we'll never forget as Vikings fans because it's been so weird.
So weird. Yeah.
Also, I have to call you out on this, Clifford. I will laugh at everything. That was funny what you're trying to do, but we got to be specific. Brian O'Neill has a partially torn Achilles, not an ACL, thank God. So maybe he'll be back in time for week 1 next year.
Partially torn is actually worse than a completely clean torn one as far as recovery, so that's not great at all.
Well, I didn't know that, and now I feel stupid. Looks like we could shop for a right tackle for, I don't know, at least the first part of next year. Ugh.
JC Treader.
Dude, they tagged him all over Vikings Twitter and freaking Andrew Whitworth. They're like, make the call, Kevin. But speaking
Whitworth's
of,
pretty comfy in his new gig. I don't think he's going anywhere.
No, not at all. I'm trying to look and see who put this comment up here.
Yeah, Za'Darius is the easy donkey for me. He was such a factor in that first game. In this game, he didn't show up whatsoever.
Yeah.
I'm going with you guys to go around and give it to the coach, man. It was just, especially, where's the 4th and goal or whatever, and you don't get anything. Like, I know that players have to execute, but Jesus, man. Set up in a prime spot. And those kind of plays, they shape the game. But
2 missed field goals.
Yeah, Greg Joseph didn't have a good game either. All around, team played like crap. So, fun times.
I will still defend Kirk, though, a little bit, even though it wasn't really too good of a game for him. He tossed some interceptions and whatnot. But,
Kirk was getting pressured and beaten all day, and I think at least one of those interceptions was tipped.
Story of the year. That dude's been getting beat the hell up. He's the number 1 sacked and I think pressured or hurried quarterback in the league this year. It's unreal.
So I don't really put any of that blame on
And he's
Kirk.
been standing there taking it.
Right. He takes shots all the time. And
Adam, you got 60 minutes of football in you?
I was a backup center in high school, so I mean, I don't think that's great. I'm not quite the dancing bear I used to be.
So what I will say, and I know that this shifts momentum, and I could see this being the reverse from 2012, where you play a team the next to last week, see them again the next week in the playoffs. I don't think the Vikings are going to play the Packers in the playoffs. It looks like the Giants at this point. But I feel much better about this team playing in US Bank than at Lambeau. So that's a positive. There's a positive with the Giants. You just beat them. You can have another formula of way to go. We know they're going to send a lot of pressure, so you know how that game could go. But the positive here to take away from this game, because I really don't want to talk about this game too long, is the Vikings overachieved this year. They set a record. They set a really bad record and a really good record. 11-0 in one-score games. It's never been done before, and 1A, 1B, the greatest comeback in NFL history. But also, what did I send in the chat? Did you guys send it there, or did I send it to someone else? If they scored 40-something points in this game, they still would have a negative point differential. It's
You see a lot of people saying the Vikings are frauds this year, and I don't think they're frauds. I just think they've had some really lucky games.
I think it's the complete opposite of 2020 and 2021, where you miss some field goals. And if you just get made the field goals, you'd be a playoff team like last year. Arizona, Baltimore.
And let's be honest, Vikings fans are used to seeing that football bounce the other way more often than not.
And it's odd because we're sitting here having a funeral for the Vikings right now. We're acting like the season's over and we've already lost the playoffs. When if this team has taught us anything, it's that you have no idea what Minnesota Vikings are going to show up. I still think there's that weird possibility we go out there and we win a playoff game. Because
do I think the Vikings can beat a team twice this year? I do think Minnesota can beat the Giants again at US Bank Stadium. I do think that is a possibility.
Yep.
Now, do I think it's going to happen? I don't know. I could see a collapse happening. I could also see Minnesota coming out and handling their business. I mean, you never know which Vikings team is going to take the field.
Exactly.
I think you guys would all agree, and I think everyone in the chat would agree. So I'm not trying to make a bold statement here, but this team in US Bank, I love. When they go somewhere else, I hate it. I hate it. And the teams are only going to get harder. It looks like the divisional round would probably be San Francisco, or no, they would be the higher seed. So you would go to maybe Dallas or Tampa Bay. I don't know how it's going to work because it's all shaped up. It was so laid out for like 4 weeks, and now it's changed. But I don't trust them in San Francisco, in Dallas, Tampa Bay. I don't trust them anywhere. But if they play a playoff game, and if they win a playoff game at home, you got to call the season a success. Anything beyond that, keep your fingers crossed. Luck happens, but
season's already a success, in my opinion.
No, you're right. That's a good point.
Yep.
You're right.
Yep.
For Kevin O'Connell, this first season has to be considered amazing.
Right.
Yeah, I get it. You guys don't have faith. It's hard to have faith after this game, but we've seen them bounce back. I mean, we've seen the luck go. How far is the luck going to run for this team? That's the question. And there could be matchups that could be favorable. You know, if we're higher than Tampa Bay, which I think we are in the seeding, we end up winning. They could come to the U.S. Bank. I don't know how Tom Brady and the Bucs would do in U.S.
Yeah,
Bank.
Tampa's locked into the 4.
Don't know how that would work. So, you know, who knows? Could see them handling some business. It all depends, man. You can't judge it off of one game. If we did, we'd have to judge the Dallas game every week. And we've seen them do some crazy, amazing stuff. The cool thing that I've seen, and it's something that I learned as a fan this year, and they just kind of vocalized and verbalized the other game, was the Vikings know about situational football. They are one of the best teams in the fourth quarter overall this season. They know what they have to do. And when it comes to crunch time, people make clutch plays, which is really cool. They obviously didn't do much in this game, but for the overwhelming majority of the year, they did. So
I was watching a show earlier today, and they're talking about how if the score is tied, the Vikings have a tie score, Kirk Cousins has the number 1 quarterback rating in the NFL.
I'll take it.
And if the Vikings are trailing, he's 10th. But if the Vikings are leading, he's 32nd.
I don't even know how that works.
But Kirk's not clutch, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, they'll never have that narrative.
He'll never get it.
I've already said it to my friends. I haven't said it on the show. If the Vikings win the Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins at quarterback, they will run. That will be the most shit you'll ever heard talked about Kirk. They'd be like, well, you know, Matt Stafford won last year with this coaching staff, and Trent Dilfer has a ring, and blah, blah, blah. He'll never get credit for anything. The hate is already cemented in stone. So
let's talk for a second about this defense. Do you think the Vikings are going to make any changes to the defensive scheme this offseason, or do you think it's still like a work in progress where what Ed Donatel is trying to do, it hasn't quite been realized yet?
I don't think they have the players to fully run the defense that he wants to run. Ed Donatel, we can hate him. We can hate the shell that they're running right now. Trust me, I do. He's not going anywhere. Will they make adjustments? Yes, of course they will make adjustments to it. But it's not like we're not gonna go back to a 4-3. We're not gonna be running the double A gap blitz. They're gonna stay in this 3-4 scheme. And I do think that it's fair to Ed Donatel, because you don't want to get in that scenario that like the Browns were in for such a long time, where every year new coordinators, new offense, new defense, new schemes, new systems. We don't want to do that. So you got to give Donatel a little bit longer of a leash, even though as fans we don't want to, but we're allowed to not want to. The team has to be smarter than that, and I think that Kwesi is smarter than that, and that they'll make the adjustments necessary.
One thing you were talking about before the season, Wes, I think we should have talked a little bit more about, but because of his past experience, we kind of glossed over it, was that transition of Danielle Hunter from end to stand-up linebacker.
Yeah.
He does not seem as effective as a stand-up linebacker, and they seem to want to use him to disguise coverages more than have him actually rush the passer.
If I was a betting man, I think that Danielle Hunter has good trade value to a team running a 4-3, where you're going to trade him, you're going to get some good value, some good picks, maybe a player in return. He can go back to a 4-3 where he's down in the dirt rushing the quarterback. It's going to be frustrating for Vikings fans because Danielle Hunter will immediately go back to being 10, 12 sacks a season, and we're going to go, what the hell? But we just have to stick with what the team is trying to do, and I don't think that Hunter fits that rule.
So this is not what I wanted to see Googling, but 2023, I'm going to overthecap.com. The Bears have the most cap space. So Danielle Hunter, Chicago Bear, inbound.
Chicago or Green Bay, and we're going to hate it.
Bears, Falcons, Giants, Patriots, Seahawks, Bengals, all defensive teams.
What's funny is that if Chicago picks him up, they'll probably try to play him at linebacker like it is Jared Allen.
Jared Allen, yeah.
Can I make some points, guys? Because you guys make very good points.
Go
and
for
what
it,
I
man.
see is I don't think that Ed Donatel needs to go. I agree with Kyle. Some of these players were meant for this kind of stuff. Some were not. If you get the right playmakers in, and I don't know what kind of scheme that Dallas runs, but they popped into my head first. Trevon Diggs is a playmaking corner. He is not the best coverage man island guy, but he makes a shit ton of plays. Micah Parsons is otherworldly at linebacker. Those are two key places that you have to be very good at to have a good defense, right? This team is about 3 defensive players away from being like now we're like scooping out the water out of the boat, trying to keep it afloat to it being manageable. All this team needs to be is 15th out of 32
and here's the
at
thing.
defense.
If you say we're like 3 players away from plugging and playing, we don't know what Lewis Cine would have done for this defense this year. We don't know how he would have fit. He could have played a really large role out there for this team.
We heard they had major plans for him, but we never really got to know what they were.
Right.
So meanwhile, Harrison Smith has played that veteran role extremely well this season. We've seen him have a nice resurgence.
Yep.
I think this team is a couple of players away on defense to where if it just balances out, because I feel like this offense is top 10 to 12 probably overall.
But they're so streaky on offense too.
Correct. But being that far apart to where you're like, okay, the offense will become clutch, and then you can't always rely on forcing a fumble, a turnover, an interception, whatever. You can't always. Sometimes you just need to go out and force a 3 and out, which this team is very spotty on. I feel like, to answer your question, is you have to give it another year, like you said. You don't want to switch them out every year. I want to see them try different players because you're committed to, and you got to think about this too. Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell signed off on the 3-4. Why would they abandon it after 1 year? And the team's 12-4, probably going to be 13-4 after this weekend. You're gonna, they could easily turn back and clap back at fans, even though they won't be that way. To be like, when's the last time you won 13 games?
So I think
this show is going to be so sad if the Vikings lose to Nathan Peterman.
Yeah, you're right.
yeah. I think there are 2 players that the Vikings could, look for in the offseason. I think that would really help them out on both sides of the ball. On defense, you got to get a big-time corner. We like Patrick Peterson. We like some of the younger talent out there, but I think you got to get you need that playmaker out there on corner. And then you do have to look at another receiver opposite of Jefferson. I think that's part of that. It's allowing teams to really key in on him. Hawkinson has helped, but he is still ultimately a tight end. Thielen, at this stage in his career, he is starting to slide into that wide receiver 3 kind of backup role. I think would suit him well moving forward on this team. You really need that number 2 who can go out there and complement Jefferson. I think that would help. That would help his game out quite a bit.
Well, the Vikings are definitely paying Thielen to be that guy.
Yeah. I don't think you probably should at this stage.
I've got it incoming. I don't even know if they're willing to trade him, but Calvin Ridley to the Vikings next year. Let's go. Perfect number 2.
There you go.
For who? For Thielen?
I don't know if they're going to trade Thielen. I don't know if they're going to cut him. I don't know if they're going to probably restructure him now that I say it out loud. But he's young. He had a whole year to rest.
Well, they got to bring in TJ Hawkinson, too, to try to figure out a way to get that cap number down.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I'm assuming this is what the thought is, but they don't trade for him just to let him be a half a season tight end and leave.
No.
Right? They're going to find a way.
And with the way Kirk is targeting him, you can't let him go.
Right. God, I feel like we're doing like the postseason show right now.
I know, that's why I was laughing earlier. It's like we're doing a fucking funeral for this team already.
We talked about it before, though. They've massively overachieved. And you're right, too, to echo the points from earlier. Last year, I can think of 3 games because I bitched about it so much, where the kicker lost the game. Now, granted, could the offense and defense have put them in a position to be not down to the wire? But I remember week 1 of the Bengals. I remember Arizona week 2, and I remember the Ravens game. I mean, they were, 8-9? They're 11-6 at that point. They're in the playoffs. Luck has been the theme of this team this year, but, God, I am so middle school infatuated and in love with Kevin O'Connell and everything that he has done, because
I know
he's so positive, man. And you see how I've never seen a coach be that fired up to barely beat a shitty Colts team, but he's like, we just did it. I told you we're going to bring that energy and belief. The word of the season is just believe. Believe. And I do. I believe in this guy.
The word of the season is whopper, 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 whopper.
Oh, no.
Just Bo leave, Adam. They need Bo Dallas.
Let's talk about that too. Let's talk about the other night because it was truly a terrifying scene on Monday Night Football. They are not resuming the Bengals and the Bills game. It was in Cincinnati. T. Higgins, I believe, came in, caught the ball, dropped the shoulder, normal football play. Bills safety Damar Hamlin went in to tackle. It wasn't helmet-to-helmet kind of thing. I believe what they've said so far is the shoulder hit at the sweet spot somewhere in the chest, wraps him up, does a little turning motion, kind of like a hip toss if you're a wrestler like I was, gets up, stands up for about 2 seconds, and completely collapses. And me and my dad were watching it, and we both were like, oh, shit. I thought concussion, and I asked my friends in one of my work chats, was he on the questionable list coming off concussion? Because that's what we're pre-programmed to think. And you see an ambulance come on the field. You see Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen crying. Joe Burrow looks like he's seen a ghost. And yeah, it's crazy seeing an ambulance take somebody off the field. They said on live TV, which really scared everyone, was they're performing CPR on Damar Hamlin right now. And he's only in his second season. So that was a wild scenario on Monday night.
Easily, I think, the scariest thing that I've ever seen in any sport I ever watching on live TV. Like, that was just absolutely terrifying. The CPR that they performed on the field, from what I read, it sounds like they saved his life.
Yeah, there are slow signs of improvement that have came out. The team and his uncle was there providing to the media, saying that, yeah, he's in critical condition. They have him on oxygen to help him support it, but he's showing signs in the right direction. They just don't know how long it's going to be. But
the first thing that popped in my head at that moment was, I don't know if you guys watched hockey, but Chris Pronger had kind of the same thing happen to him on the ice, where there was a hit and then he started to skate away and just collapsed.
Oh.
It's crazy. It's so terrible. And the sadness that you saw on especially the Bills players, it was unreal.
I know in our minds these are all strapping young men who are like almost invulnerable.
Yep.
Right.
And just super healthy and everything. But, you know, a lot of them can have underlying medical conditions.
That's something I'm proud of for this channel, for not talking any crap and judging. Michael Pierce opting out of the COVID year. He's like, dude, I have asthma. This could kill me.
Yeah.
We were like, hey, man, do your thing. I'm not going to hold it against you. We get it. It was really, really heartwarming to see the influx within hours of everyone donating to his charity, buying his jersey. All the teams in the NFL changed their profile photo on like Twitter and said, hey, we're prayers up for Damar. But
it didn't take too long for the negative people to grab this situation and try to attach their own agenda to it.
Oh, they can't just let it be and make it, hey, let's come together. It's always got to be hot take and controversy. It's the worst. And I feel like some of these were taken a little out of context. Like Kyle and I were talking a little bit of crap today, but former Vikings reporter Courtney Cronin had to bring up 9/11. Now, she wasn't comparing what happened to the event of 9/11. She was referring to how the NFL on the fly changed the schedule. But I'm like, maybe don't talk about a terrorist attack in this because these are two different situations.
Yeah.
And Skip Bayless was looking at his tweet on Twitter. It wasn't what everybody thought it was, but it's one of those where you could have not said that.
You also don't need to hit the send button. Like, there are moments where you don't need to have a hot take.
I get what Skip was trying to say. And he was absolutely right that the game felt so inconsequential at that point. It didn't matter whatsoever.
Right.
Yeah.
And I get what Skip was trying to say. And I also get why he would feel like he may not have to apologize for all that. But I mean, if you're really like taking someone's feelings and really making them very uncomfortable, what you should kind of feel a little bit sorry for what you're saying, even if the what you're trying to say didn't come across well.
Right.
You can just say, hey, this is what I meant to say. I'm sorry if it got interpreted the wrong way. I didn't mean to offend anyone. Is that difficult to do?
I didn't want to listen to his apology because I just didn't want to give him my time. And a lot of people were
I also
dragging.
Yeah, I agree with
I don't watch his show.
I also don't want to listen to Skip Bayless. So
that's pretty much it. Yeah, I don't want to listen to him.
Yeah.
Wes asks, what do you guys believe the NFL should do with Bengals Bills and the Week 18 schedule? I've heard the NFL is exploring many options.
At this point, it should be a no contest draw.
Yeah, it should be a tie or whatever. Like, that's it. I still believe in the giving the teams that earned a spot in the Super Bowl the week to rest. What's going to happen is, and this is one of the things we talked about, this is something that Courtney Cronin was suggesting, you could do NFC one weekend, AFC gets off, next weekend NFC has off, and then they reschedule some weirdness in there. You don't get the bye week for the playoff or the Super Bowl teams, and nothing changes. You don't have to change venues, dates, all that crap. But
Yeah.
Did you see the stuff about Stephon Diggs after that?
when he went to the hospital,
Yeah, he skipped the team flight out of Cincinnati to go to the hospital to be with his teammate.
I can't
Good
hate
for
the
him.
guy.
I like that.
I can't.
Yeah.
They showed some footage that night of him walking to the cameras caught him, and he was walking in. And I guess the security was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" He's like, "That's my teammate in there." So I let you go see my teammate. I play for the Bills. So if they let him in, but yeah, he's
They did not
got
want
a
to
good
let him
heart.
in, and he fought it pretty hard, I guess.
This was good too. Kathy has a great point. Hate what happened, but the humanity shown by both team staff and the fans was great. Yeah, I
Right
was
on.
really
Yep.
glad to see and I ran my mouth to my dad about Philadelphia when this happened, because if that would have happened in Philadelphia, they would have cheered and clapped because those people are trash bags. But
Also,
Well-
major props to the people on the scene for reacting so quickly.
yeah, for sure.
As weird as it sounds, Adam, remember when WWE reference here? Remember when Jerry Lawler had that heart attack at the end of Raw, and it basically saved his life that it happened where and when it happened because they had paramedics on standby right there. Now I realize this was caused by football, so if he wouldn't have been playing, probably wouldn't have happened. But he is also very lucky that the paramedics and the trained staff,
they had really good medical staff on hand at the arena.
Yes, we're right there to save his life.
I'm not trying to shift away from the subject and talk. I just clicked over to my over the cap thing. This is wild. Just a random little factoid. The Saints are $53 million over the cap next year.
It's because they kept rolling that stupid Drew Brees contract over year after year.
The Buccaneers, Tom Brady is gone. $42 million over, and they barely won the awful NFC South. That's crazy. If you guys didn't hear, which most of us are football fans in general too, Derek Carr didn't play for the Raiders, and he's unfollowed the team. It looks like he's on the move too. So Tom Brady and Derek Carr, I am guessing, are not going to be with their respective teams come 2023.
Derek Carr will be a St. Louis Battlehawk in the XFL here soon.
The Carolina Panthers are coming.
Yeah, I've already seen that at the airport.
I hate that saying.
Yeah.
Like Tampa Brady. I don't like that shit.
It's so cheesy.
Tampa was funny.
It's so bad.
It was funny the first time you heard it, and then you're like, okay.
I like puns.
Yeah.
I did buy a Tom Brady shirt after they won the Super Bowl. It was really great. Old Row had the creamsicle orange color, and when he was hammered, and he basically had a handler like walking his drunk ass out of there, and it just had a parental advisory sticker on there. It's like, I love this so much. Finally, Tom has a personality. That's cool. But yeah, the Vikings.
Who were you guys'
did not play
donkeys?
well.
Did you say who they were?
I've given it to Kevin O'Connell. The team looked like shit, and some of that decision making was bad. For me, it was so many players didn't play well for whatever reason, good or bad. Whatever. I've seen him fall flat a couple times, and I'm like, I would like to see a better game plan. If Dalvin Cook is not working, you need to throw the ball. Preferably whisper in your quarterback's ear to throw it to the best receiver out there. But I get it. Players got to execute.
Halftime, I stopped to clean my fish tank. And the game was just on in the background. So I don't have much of an opinion past that.
I have to tell you how I watched it this Sunday too, because you'll laugh. I have a set schedule at work where I have to do X number of things, and basically we count minutes. I need you to do at least this much today. We're going to document it all. I log in a computer every day, blah, blah, blah. I made sure to get all my chores done before my mom came home, so I would make her happy. And then that's the shitty game that I had to watch. I was so mad when I was leaving work because it was over about the time I got off work. And I'm like, I can't believe I did all this work so early for this crap. I was so pissed.
Yeah. I hate that. I don't know what's worse. You get up and you have a noon game and the Vikings are terrible and it ruins the rest of your day, or you wait until an afternoon or an evening game so you're excited all day for it, and then the Vikings lose and it's ruined your day because you're like, I waited all day for this shit.
It's got to be the
Which
second
is
one for me.
worse?
Second one, waiting and waiting and waiting.
What's always worse is waiting all day for Sunday night.
Waiting all day for Sunday night, singing it just like Carrie does.
But yeah, I always prefer the Sunday 1 p.m. spot if possible.
Yeah. I hate waiting for an afternoon or an evening game and then, the Vikings shit the bed and now I have to go to bed and be angry and wake up tomorrow morning.
And this Vikings game was televised nearly countrywide.
Yeah.
So everyone got to see this collapse.
Shout out to Wes, too. I see you're commenting from your Facebook. So you put a picture up. Number 3, I believe that's got to be DeMar Hamlin's picture. But he's talking about the donations. And if you don't know or hear what charity football players have, it sucks it takes something like this to happen for that to go down. Shout out to the flooring company in Washington, D.C., who donated more to the charity than the Washington Commanders did. Saw that meme today, and I was like, look, charity in itself is not a race or competition, but you cheap bastards.
So, yeah, that toy drive that he had the GoFundMe for, that was $2,500. Oh, if you go and look at the donations, it's crazy because 2 of them are for $5,000 from Chris Jericho.
Yeah, he donated to the wrong one, so he had to do it again, but that's cool. Cliff Tang says, let's get some London games so we can eat breakfast and get it over with. I think they're only going to go to London once if they do.
If I ever go to London, I need a Scotch egg. I've only had a Scotch egg once, and that was at the Minnesota State Fair. I need to have another one because it was just good.
What is a Scotch egg?
It is basically a hard-boiled egg that's wrapped in meat and deep fried.
Oh, God,
hey!
That sounds wonderful.
Yes, it does.
That sounds like some American shit right there. I love it.
Clog up the rest of my arteries. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh, man. So that game's over with. I'm not going to read stats from this game. First time in a long time. I'm not going to do it. The Vikings
They didn't do anything noteworthy. There's your stat.
It was really bad.
Even the defensive stats are really disappointing. Players that you thought would be near the top of the list for tackles and stuff are nowhere to be found. Zadarius Smith's numbers are just disgustingly terrible. I think he had 1 tackle on the day.
Oh, God.
Maybe 3. Either him or Hunter had 3.
Maybe 3 combined between the 2 of them.
Yeah, it was not pretty. They were not getting what they needed out of those outside linebackers.
Sergio brings up a good point. Football on the West Coast starts at 10 a.m., then 1 to 1:30, then Sunday Night Football is at 5:30. That Sunday Night Football at 5:30 I would love. I would not love 10 a.m. starts.
Yeah, hard pass on 10 a.m.
I'm usually up by that time, but I like to have done some things before. Go to the gym, get lunch, run some errands.
I'd like to make breakfast and wake up.
Yeah, that.
And I can barely do that before 1 p.m.
That's tough, man. You got to think, too, like us on the East Coast, we'll take the times because it caters kind of to us. But
I am such a night owl.
See, I'm the opposite. I can barely keep my eyes open for the Sunday night game at the very end. I'm like, I know I got to go to sleep, guys. I got to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Vikings are
5:30 is bullshit.
Thank God I don't have that schedule. Oof. The Vikings are closing out the regular season of 2022 this weekend. I don't think there are any Thursday or Sunday night games or Monday night games. It's all Saturday, Sunday, I believe.
I have not looked at the weather for Chicago for this Bears game. It could be interesting to see. I'm not sure.
The Vikings, now that the Bears have announced Nathan Peterman is starting, they're 7-point favorites, which is hilarious.
So if you're the Vikings, okay, does it matter for us if we win or lose this football game?
Minnesota can still take the number 2 seed, but it's not going to happen. Because the 49ers would have to lose to the Rams. And the Vikings would have to beat the Bears.
So
I don't see that happening.
I'm fine with the start. Treat it a bit like a preseason game. Get the starters out there, play them a little bit, maybe quarter, maybe up to a half. But let's pull these guys. Let's not.
It's not gonna. They're not gonna pull anybody though. That's the thing. Is
You don't think
this
so?
team is no? They're gonna fight with everything they got. Try watching Wrestle Kingdom at 3:30 a.m. Yeah.
You guys remember Wes is bringing up how bad the field is in Chicago. Remember Mike Zimmer talk crap about the clock there? That's one of my favorite Soldier Field moments. I miss that guy sometimes. God, he had some good quotes.
I wish he would have been more salty with the media. You know that?
I miss Jay Cutler like taking his insulin and smoking it on the sideline.
Yeah. Spoken Jay Cutler. That was some good memes.
Jonathan asks, if Chicago decides to play backups, does JJ get 200 yards? It's very possible, but after the horrible performance right now, I don't know that it's going to be as celebrated or feel as good. But
yeah,
I think he can. I don't think he'll break the single season record or get 2,000, but I think he'll get some yards this week for sure. Oh, let's see that. The Giants can knock the Eagles into a wild card spot this Sunday. And that would mean Dallas would win.
Dallas would have the number one, so that can happen.
Oh, wow. It sounds like Hurts is going to play, but I don't know how the Giants are going to treat that too. I guess they would try to get better seating, but I think they're locked in at the 6.
I thought Hurts was out.
It says that he was expected to play for the season finale as a tune-up before getting a week off if they win and get the 1.
Yeah, the Eagles kind of got a giver to get that, to make sure they hold on to that number 1 spot since they lost last week.
49ers play the Cardinals and the Seahawks play the Rams.
Yeah, 49ers are not losing to the Cardinals.
Yeah, they're out. Kyler Murray just had his ACL surgery.
David Blau win the Cardinals.
He put up some yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. We'll let you know. We'll get ready for playoff football, but a lot of things are going to happen. I predict one big shakeup this weekend. I don't really know in what form it's going to come, but all these crazy scenarios where the Vikings go to the 1 or blah blah blah. I don't think so. I don't see that happening.
No,
it's pretty much.
I think Minnesota's going to sit pretty comfortably in 3.
Yeah.
I just want the team to stay healthy. I guess.
Yeah, more injuries.
Yeah, win or lose, I'm not really too concerned about it. It kind of feels like their destiny's out of their hands a little bit. So just stay healthy, look competitive, get Justin Jefferson some yards so that he gets his momentum going, rolling.
Get a win, get some momentum going into the playoffs.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Or just, ACL tears for everyone. Just fuck it.
Justin Jefferson, 1,771 yards, and he's got 1 game left. So
yeah, he's not getting 230 is tough.
230 is a lot. I'm sure he's going to fall short of that, but hell of a season he's had. They showed it recently. He is in first place for the first 3 seasons, 4,000 some odd yards. Jerry Rice and then Randy Moss. So he's in good company. He has way less touchdowns than those guys, but
yeah.
I mean, he's just a superstar. He's such a good receiver. Well, it'll be interesting to see how the team bounces back, and we'll keep you covered. We'll let you know sometime next week, hopefully closer to Monday, Tuesday. Maybe we won't wait till Wednesday next week if the schedules line up, but we'll let you know. We'll gear up for playoff football. But as it stands, the Vikings go to Soldier Field to close out the regular season, and yeah, we'll see. Hopefully we're in a lot better mood and feeling better about the team. So
that would definitely be nice.
Here's a starting point to root and pray for if that's your thing. Garrett Bradbury back at center. That's a start.
Yeah, they say it's possible.
For the playoffs, let's see if we can get there.
Herb Smith, is he going to be activated? What do we think?
They have not activated him yet. They had 14 days, so that we should get something soon.
I would like to see him and TJ Hawkinson on the field at the same time. That sounds like fun.
Even if it's just to have a couple tight ends on the field to help out blocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a good start.
Because let's be honest here.
Yeah, that too.
Adam Thielen hasn't been contributing a ton. KJ Osborne's picked things up a little bit. So, I mean, he's been doing what he can. But otherwise, the Vikings receivers on the depth chart haven't been making a ton of noise.
I would love to, and I'll make the formal switch here as Kyle Smith, new head coach of the Vikings. Jalen Reagor, you are only going to sit back there to catch punts, and Jalen Naylor is taking your spot in any wide receiver formations and plays.
I still think we should just put CJ Ham as center number 2 and have him directly behind the center for the duration of the game to help with the blocking, because boy, that shit was rough.
Who's the guy that we had? Jerome Felton? He was paving the way for Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
All right, bring it back.
Zach Line? Remember Zach Line?
Remember Tony Richardson?
No.
That man could block. The fullback Minnesota got him from the Chiefs.
What era Vikings was that? Because I don't remember that name at all.
I thought we were going in order of fullbacks here.
Oh, no, I'm just naming one that I remember from a little further back. No, these to answer your question, Jonathan and Charlotte, they would never let you have something that looks this nice. I had the brown birth control glasses, as we call them, the BCGs. They were awful, and they were big, but they were sturdy. You could run over them with a tank, and they would not crush. I don't know where those are because I'm 58,000 years old, and
and you've moved how many times? How do you know where anything is at this point?
There's a big room that I have that's just full of junk that I've saved that I need to get rid of.
So at this point, do you think Chris Reed's going to get to start at center?
Yep.
I don't know who the hell else would.
They signed someone.
Oh, yeah, that center that had the literal worst blocking grade to PFF.
Well, his pro comparison is J.C. Treader.
Well, there you go. He was
drafted.
There you go. I mean, what other center are you going to sign from free agency at this point?
This is why I hate the trade deadline. You should be able to trade up until the playoffs. Make shit interesting.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
It would be interesting.
Teams would get desperate at week 18 to be like, we're in the playoffs, we barely made, or we're going to win, we got to get a receiver, and they just see like
I tell you what, though, it would be fascinating. Like the Vikings right now, I don't know, call up Houston or some team. You guys are eliminated. What do you got for a center?
Ironically enough, that's where that center came from, I believe.
Yeah.
You could call up Jake Reed and see if he wanted to play center.
Hey, that was a joke on me because I didn't say the right first name. I think that's it, guys.
Yeah, that's all I got. The Vikings signed those two guys, right tackle and a center, and
they did what they had to do. They did on paper what they had to
do. The cheeseheads, that wasn't good.
So, yeah, let's raise up the mood. The Vikings are in the playoffs. They're going to host a playoff game looking like the Giants, a familiar opponent from a couple weeks back. So let's get ready for it.
We can do that.
Let's get ready for it. I think we all believe probably divisional round is probably this team's peak, but you know what? We're going to root for them regardless. I want to say it now. All right, we all are rooting for the Vikings to win the Super Bowl because we're all going to be just ecstatic. This has never happened. We realistically probably don't think they're going to make it or win the Super Bowl, but if they don't, for whatever reason, what is your guys? And in the comments, get ready. Let's hear it. What's your dream Super Bowl matchup and winner?
There have been plenty of times this season where I counted Minnesota out and they proved me wrong. So, I mean, I got to just watch and see what happens, I guess.
Sure. I could be completely wrong, and there'd be a lot of magic dust still out there for us to sprinkle in every game. But I tell you what I don't want. I don't want to see Tom Brady in the Super Bowl again.
Yeah.
First, I'm tired of it. Retire and go be a father. Jesus. I don't want to see Philadelphia win another Super Bowl. God,
Brock Purdy versus Trevor Lawrence. Make it happen.
Fun fact. Colin Cowherd said it today. Since week 9, Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback in football. That's insane. Insane. I think we're all rooting for Buffalo, right? If it doesn't happen for the Vikings.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's something different. I don't know that I like the Bengals enough yet. They're good, but Buffalo to win because you never won one. I could get on board with that.
That, and I still can't support ketchup on steak.
I'm going to send you a photo of every time I have ketchup and steak.
You still do well done steaks too, don't you?
No.
Ugh.
I felt embarrassed when I went with my sister and she got well done steak and asked for ketchup.
Oh, my heart hurts. Oh, that hurts so much.
I mean, it's okay. You can like whatever you like and enjoy it, but to be there and witness it, it's like, oh no.
Ketchup on a steak, WTF. It's bad enough if you put ketchup on a steak, but if you do it well done, it's like, hey, I did something really bad. Want to see me do it twice?
Want to see me chew this piece for 5 minutes? Because
when I was younger, sure, I used to dump steak sauce on a steak, and now I know that I was just being silly. Because, boy, steak tastes really good even without steak sauce.
There you go. Jonathan's calling it Vikings-Bills Super Bowl. Vikings win by a field goal in overtime. All right. Sergio said he's okay with Buffalo or since he wins the Super Bowl. Yeah, I think I just have my don'ts more than anything. Obviously, I don't want to see Green Bay win, but no Tom Brady, please. No Philly. I don't like those people. We'll see. We're still rooting, though. The Vikings are alive, and
I don't want to be that guy, but I don't want to see Dallas win it either.
Oh, God, could you imagine we'd in boys everywhere? Ugh. Ugh. Good thing they have to go to San Francisco, and that's not going to happen. That's a bad matchup for them.
The two teams that pretty much every fan base in the NFL can agree that we all hate, the Cowboys and the Eagles.
Yeah.
Unless you're a fan of those two teams, everyone else is like, nah, screw them.
Daniel Jones, Super Bowl MVP.
Gross.
It could happen.
All right, let's do it. Tag away and plug away, boys.
I haven't been doing much these days, so you can check me out on social media anywhere you go. Well, at MN Viking Zombie. I do want to thank everyone who visited and read articles over on the Viking Age. The Viking Age was the #1 NFL-themed site on the Fansided Network, so you Vikings fans are definitely getting it done. And I think that's amazing, too, considering that the Viking Age has such a smaller hometown area for Vikings fans. It's such a smaller fan base compared to some of the bigger teams with more followers and fans. So
Fansided Network, man.
Big thanks to all you guys for checking that out if you do. If not, you should check it out sometime.
Kyle West.
There's my stuff. You can check it out if you want.
You did that Ricky Bobby interview where
what Kyle West is trying to say is if you head on over to our Facebook page, pinned to the very top is a link where you can buy some of my artwork, is what Kyle West is saying.
Yep.
Has very good photography. I believe you have that in your bio and in Instagram, Twitter and stuff. You can go to Kyle West Photography. Yeah, you follow him there. He's got really good photography and prints that are could be yours. So,
and I'm sure if you have a request for him to take a picture of and put it up for sale, he could probably do that for you. Just hit him up at Vaguely Square, wherever that stuff is. What if someone wants a big picture of your feet?
I mean, sure. Sure, why not?
Don't be stingy on that price, man. Know what you got. You guys can follow me there, Twitter, Instagram. But that's pretty much it for the show.
Are you still hopping on IG every once in a while for a live show?
I haven't over the break because my son was here and the holidays, but yes, I am every week adding a new song to my set list. So if you come and see me, once or twice a year, you're not going to hear the exact same songs over and over. And usually I'll practice whatever I'm feeling at the moment there. But
I heard you were practicing a Stone Temple Pilots.
Oh, yeah. Won't do it for copyright, but yeah, here, I'll do that real quick. That was fun.
Yeah, it was really good. It's a really good cover. Are you a Stone Temple Pilots fan, Adam?
I may have to retire this.
I've actually seen Stone Temple Pilots in concert before Scott Weiland passed away.
Nice.
What was bad was the Red Hot Chili Peppers were opening for them, and they were terrible.
Yeah, they're not a good live band. I like the Chili Peppers, but I wouldn't want to see them in concert.
Come see me. All my stuff is on my pages.
Copyright strike.
Now, when you perform live, do you wear pants or not?
Yeah, always.
Oh, man.
Rule number 1 from one of my favorite artists and American Aquarium, Mr. BJ Barham. Don't wear shorts on stage. Get a pair of pants, you lazy bastard.
Well, I do want to thank everyone for joining us here in the chat, because it's always more fun to do these with a live group of people here to share in the Vikings conversation with us. I still think back to when we just recorded a Skype conversation we were reading off paper, and that was no fun whatsoever. This is so much better, and it's a lot of fun, and it's the reason why we're 520 shows deep almost at this point. I don't know. I didn't even look at the show number when we logged on.
507.
That's a lot of shows. It's a lot of weeks. But thanks again for showing up and supporting us.
Say that's a lot of weed. I'm like, what podcast are you doing?
No, I don't do that stuff. I'm clean and sober for over a decade now, so that's something I'm a little proud of. But yeah, Happy New Year to everyone. And I hope you're all having safe stuff and taking this new year, and I hope it's all going well for you. But on behalf of both Kyles and I, stay classy, Minnesota.